across so many forms of social media. I got a text about this today. I have heard from all corners of Chiefs Kingdom about the power of Tuesday's breakdown of the burden. And I think in a lot of ways, we're all carrying some form of capital T, capital B, the burden. But what I have done, as may be evident in some way by my audio or at least my video being different than usual, there's a really easy way to lighten your own burden, fellas. Just go to Mexico.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Yeah, I am on the road. Seth is in Minnesota. What's being held up here, Seth?
I've joined you in sunny Mexico. It's a picture my daughter Isabel drew for me when we got back from Anna Maria a couple years ago, because she heard me telling Jazz that if I don't get some sunshine, I don't know what I'm going to do. So she drew me a sunset in Anna Maria, because that's how Isabel rolls, because she's great. Love you, Isa. Love my other kids too. Not enough to name you right now, but I love you, Isa. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm thrilled that you have a little bit of sunlight there from your child who thinks that I'm the most funny. And I have some breaking news. I'm on the road. Things are going well. I have, despite being now in a different country, in my first time here in this wonderful place, I have been able to keep up. I have been able to keep up with Patrick Mahomes cannot be injured. Hollywood Brown on his way back. Steve Spagnuolo cannot tell a lie when asked directly about Joshua Uche. Those are the things that that have made the transmission to me. And I also have breaking news just announced by Mr. Adam Schefter. Elway, a documentary about the life and career of John Elway, is coming to Netflix. Now, I don't think we should be the only ones doing a live watch-along and report of this. I think Bird Lawyer and the Always Sunny in Chiefs Kingdom fellas, I think they probably deserve the first crack at it. But I think we should do like a second screen situation to properly put Elway into context. Will you guys be by your TV the moment that drops?
Okay, look, I kind of asked this wholeheartedly a few weeks ago when someone said the New York Sack Exchange, and I said no. And now, as Todd Barton says in the comments, who asked for this? Who? Okay, if you're telling me there's an Aaron Rodgers documentary, I get it, because it's somewhat topical. He's still in the league. He's high off, whatever.
He's such an enigma.
I'll watch.
I wish you'd get a new joke personally, but
I'd watch Aaron Rodgers doing trips anyway. I thought one of the best 30 for 30s in the NFL section is, obviously Marino to Elway. It makes sense. I get it. That was a pivotal moment in the league. I don't need this, I could also break some news that has already been broken, Josh. Did you know that Netflix is going to do a documentary both on Carlitos Alcaraz and Rafael Nadal? I'd watch those guys.
Seth,
that seems relevant. This no. Is the Manning cast involved in this? Is Omaha Productions giving a payback? Is that what we doing?
Well, it's ironic because the Manning cast production features one quarterback who's much better than John Elway, and another one who's about the same with a lot less hype. So, it would be pretty appropriate if they were involved. I got another one. I wonder if the Netflix documentary will be really overrated for a long time while absolutely accomplishing nothing. But in the end, Terrell Davis will come in and they'll bend a few rules about how to publish things, and that'll allow it to make some good numbers. I got another one for you. I wonder if maybe it's going to get so much hype while it's still in its nascent stage. Let's call it college, maybe, that people will feel it's necessary to say how great it is, even when it doesn't really accomplish anything compared to other documentaries of its time. I got another one. I wonder. Okay, no, I'm done. Sorry, but there's so many of these that I just like. I'm sorry. Birdlaw has convinced me. Elway's stats stunk compared to even his contemporaries. It was like 19th or something out of like 38 some odd quarterbacks, and not even that. He was fine. He was fine.
Look,
he was
good player.
He was very good player. He was someone known for
player.
he was someone known for the dramatics, which helps create narratives. We all understand that.
I've got another one. Patrick Mahomes' worst season in 2023, where he has been kind of not great on first and second down, but incredible on third and fourth down and in the toughest moments and like in the clutch, is a lot like John Elway's, except for the part where he's been great in the clutch. All right, sorry.
What you think they're gonna, real quick, Josh? You think they're gonna have a image of Tony Gonzalez in the corner of the end zone catching that ball in the 1990? What was that, 7 playoffs? Think they'll have that? Think they'll have that moment in there?
Probably won't be featured.
Yeah.
I will watch it if and only if Peyton Manning does the opening narration and he introduces this film Elway and introduces Mr. John Elway as the second best Broncos quarterback of all time.
That would be
if Peyton Manning does that, or I'll watch it if and only if Tim Tebow does the narration.
Yes!
This is about the third greatest Broncos quarterback of all time. If Brock Osweiler, okay. I'm good.
But no, it's, hey, you know what? Good for him. Intriguing story. He was a solid NFL quarterback with a flair for the theatrical. Good for him. Drag some great. Yeah, much like Eli. Dragged some limited rosters to Super Bowls, much like Eli. Didn't win any of them until he had a ton of help. Much like, oh, no, wait, Eli won his? Right? I don't know what to tell you. I mean, apparently, unlike Eli, he wasn't able to beat his generation's GOAT. He needed Joe Montana to retire before he could win anything. He had to get between GOAT eras. He had to go after Montana and before Tom Brady. It's the only time. It's the Akeem Olajuwon M championships.
I don't know if that's the one we want to do, considering what Brady and Mahomes ended up doing head to head. We might want to leave that one in the about the previous GOAT had to retire first. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do
I'll allow it. I thought about it for a minute, and it doesn't matter. And the reason why, I'm not some genius. I say this to my wife often. I'm not some genius that can explain why things that seem kind of similar are in fact very different. I can just tell you that they are.
I want to thank John Elway personally, per my complexion, because as someone said earlier in the comments, Winston Holyfield. Also, can you imagine a modern day player losing 3 Super Bowls and not getting cut or traded? Look, man, one guy on the other side of the field was throwing bombs, kids, bombs. And the other guy was losing. Okay. And I want to thank John Elway for the fact that we will always have Doug Williams. Always and forever. Doug Williams down 10 points in a Super Bowl, which, by the way, back in those times, kids, a 2-score lead was virtually insurmountable. And then they scored 55 points.
Yeah.
Or was it 45? I can't remember. It was an absurd amount. And Doug Williams was the hero that day, all because of John Elway.
Speaking of insurmountable 2-score leads, let's talk about where this Chiefs offense is right now, because it is getting healthier at 2 positions, I suppose. Technically, Patrick Mahomes' ankle is healthier than it was on Monday, so I guess in that way it's getting a little bit better.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, but Hollywood Brown now also activated and set to go. Nate, I'm going to let you kind of take the Mahomes angle first here. I don't want you to have to carry the burden of the show 2 episodes in a row, but you have been out there and I have been, touching sand, if not grass. So what has stood out to you from the week of Mahomes' full participation in spite of the burden, a chance for rest, 3 games left? Where's Patrick Mahomes right now?
Now, I want to be very clear, ladies and gentlemen. This is not unusual. This is not the norm that on, Tuesday and Wednesday, they said, look, we can't let you see a single thing. Okay, he's going to do some stretches and get out. just get out, okay, please. And that is not normally the case. Normally, we see a lot more than that in practice. Obviously, I told you all a few weeks ago about the indoor practice and the dynamics as to, hey, this is happening in real time. The whole DJ Humphries, Wanye Moore's transition. That happens because we have time to kind of, observe things. Now, today, we were allowed a couple of individual periods, and I saw one drop back. We're good. I've seen enough.
He looked fine dropping back.
Yep. Ball came out clean. We're good. Yep. I don't even see anything. Thanks, Brad. I'll take it from here. I'll go back to my car. It's been great. I only need to see one drop back. Just one. Okay, he's great. He's fine.
Then you were very nicely and very apologetically asked to leave.
Well, sometimes it's better to
Nate, you don't have to answer that.
Sometimes it's better to get ahead of said request, but yes, theoretically.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So he dropped back. Was it a under center drop back? Was it a play action drop back? Was it a team drop back? Was it an air drop back?
Did he throw it to a double covered player for no reason, or was the guy open? How did that pass to Justin Watson look, Nate?
I'm not privy to give information of that magnitude. So, because if I did, the Houston Texans of all teams could use that to their advantage. So, you know what, fellas? I'm being told off camera that I cannot tell you those details.
So, man. So Mahomes is gonna start. On a side note, you mentioned Justin Watson.
Print the nuclear codes at the 50 of the indoor practice facility, and they would never get out.
No, never.
Unbelievable.
It's not happening. They would very politely prevent anyone from seeing them, and they would be real sorry that there was nothing they could do about it. And so, one interesting thing. You mentioned Justin Watson. I'm sorry, Chiefs wide receiver 1, Justin Watson, and. Go back sometime. Every year there's like going to be YouTube videos of Patrick Mahomes' year highlights. They're always like 20 minutes long. One thing, for as crummy as 2023 felt going through, man, he had a lot of awesome highlights. Like we really are. And I guarantee you 2024, same thing. We're going to look back. We've gotten very spoiled. That's one thing. By the way, I'm Captain Optimism this week. I'm excited to get into that. But there's so many great plays. There's so many of them. So many of them that would be someone else's best play. The second point, though, if you did a compilation of just Justin Watson's catches as a highlight reel, people would think he was a legit all-pro receiver. They would, because there would be about TikTok 25 of them.
This is a Tucker thing. Tucker, get on this.
It is unbelievable how many great catches Justin Watson made last year. I was watching. It was like, man, who hauled that? Justin Watson. Once a game, maybe twice. It's unbelievable. So you know what? Shout out to you, Justin Watson, Chiefs wide receiver 1. Now you can be Chiefs wide receiver 4. Please and thank you.
And look, based on what we saw today, I gotta imagine that Hollywood's going to be featured quite a bit in the first 15. I don't know why Josh just
honestly
left.
I was just trying to get better lighting. I did not realize how dark it was going to get in here. I've got huge windows, right? I should love to show you Palm.
Have you not seen any scary movies, Josh? What are you doing?
Hold on, guys. Tell me more about how Hollywood Brown looked.
So this is a full week of practice for Hollywood Brown. He's very spry, very loose, and ready to go. I think what'll be interesting is how quickly will they get him the ball on obviously an organized plan look. How will he do in space? Obviously the first couple plays of contact will be interesting given, it's a shoulder injury that led to a chest injury that, obviously had a lot of complications to it. That is more closely tied to high level skier than football player.
High level skier, as in someone who skis?
Yeah, someone who tries to slide a mountain at record breaking time with trees and other things as obstacles.
I'm familiar with what skiing is. I just wasn't sure if that's what you'd said, Nate.
Yeah. Olympic
Nobody
skiers.
has. You remember that scene in The Office when Michael Scott gives Oscar like this ridiculous puppet, and Oscar thanks him sincerely, and Michael afterward is like, he has the lowest opinion of me. Every now and then, Nate, I wonder if you think I'm an idiot, because you're like, okay, so Seth, skiing. I'm in Minnesota, man. Now, to be fair, we don't have any mountains here, so
Correct.
that might have been counterproductive. But we have hills.
So
what is it called when you just ski on flat surfaces? There's a specific
that would be cross country skiing.
Cross country skiing. Thank you. I just don't have it there right now.
Where one crosses the country while skiing. It's apparently quite the workout. I wouldn't know.
Seems impossible.
Now look,
it does seem impossible.
So he was spending time in Colorado with a specialist known for repairing skiers whose bodies may collapse on impact, and I mean that literally, kids. Their bodies may combust.
It's a dangerous sport.
And so now, as long as that doesn't happen again, it should be interesting how much of Xavier Worthy is used as a decoy to further open things up for Hollywood Brown, or how much of this is Hollywood Brown opening things up for Xavier Worthy.
Xavier Worthy is part of that god-awful prank show where the guys are hiding in the back room and like, hey, now have Mahomes target him 3 times and overthrow it by like 20 yards. No, now tell him Hollywood Brown's coming back.
Like, Seth, I want to ask you a scheme question real quick on that note. Would you rather have Xavier Worthy be a decoy for Hollywood Brown, or would you rather have Xavier Worthy be a decoy for Travis Kelce?
As long as
or would you rather have him be a decoy for Justin Watson?
As long as he's a decoy, we're all set. Because if you know one thing, if the throw is to anyone but Xavier Worthy, it's going to be on point. If it's to Worthy, Mahomes is going to flip out and throw it 5 yards away. But I'm optimistic because Xavier Worthy lives open. He's getting open. And him, let me just tell you, Hollywood Brown, big deal.
Yes,
big
Seth,
deal.
You idiot. You don't shoot the decoy. It's always over there by itself. You got a little fake duck floating on the water. Don't shoot the decoy. It's out there to get some attention.
You shoot near it to let the other ducks think it's real?
No, then like, you let Justin Watson. You let Justin Watson come up and you shoot Justin Watson. I don't know. The metaphor got kind of ugly. I didn't there.
That's fine.
Decoy.
But I would just... Here's the beautiful thing. I see Stephen Holman, who spells Steven the way I spell my middle name. Congratulations on that, Steven. I just want to know if Hollywood Brown can run a slant. Here's the beauty of it. He doesn't have to. You know who's running your slants? DeAndre bleeping Hopkins. Which, had the Chiefs come into the year at the beginning of the season with this trio, we would have been thrilled. Now, granted, they had Rashee Rice, who is in that exact same role. They have DeAndre Hopkins for the Rashee Rice role, and then like that 20% of thing that DeAndre's a little long in the tooth for. Rashee's younger, a little more explosive. They got Worthy to do that stuff. Some of that like, hey, I'm just going to throw you the ball at the sideline, and you are going to outrun someone for 8 yards. Perfect. Worthy can do that, and a lot more if he gets better throws. And now, here's the thing with Hollywood Brown, that intermediate portion of the field, those in-breakers. Oh, the in-breakers. Which, you know what, for Chiefs fans, given the way the offense has looked, an in-breaker is it's where wide receiver runs.
What Justin Watson runs.
Yeah.
Right, pretty much.
And so I just the complementary skill set of Worthy, Brown, and Hopkins is really nice. And there's potential here for some really good things. And the good news is what you need for that is for Mahomes to trust his receivers. And now he's got 2 that he should be able to trust in Brown and Hopkins. And here's the deal. People are going to talk about...
Say his name. Say his name.
I'm going to.
He's always open.
He's always... 2022 Travis Kelce. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
No, that's clearly Justin Watson. What are you talking about?
That's clear. I know it's Justin Watson. So here's the beauty of this, in a way, Maybe we're all going to look back on this as kismet, as it were. The beauty of this, he's now got 2 receivers that you would think he trusts. I think he already trusted Hollywood Brown. One of the great things about this isn't a free agent coming in. This is a guy that was with him all through training camp. This is a guy that he's had time to develop time with, was with him a lot this summer, developing stuff.
May have been with him outside the confines of the facility.
Man, they got together outside the confines of a loving facility.
Seth, have you read the NFLPA report card? There is nothing loving about that facility.
That's a solid point. So he's got guys that he trusts, and he's got a guy that he's trusting more and more in Xavier Worthy. What he needs to do is trust his receivers and trust them to be in the right spot and go through his reads and not feel like he needs to gain 10 yards on every play. Not every play is 3rd or 4th down. And here's the kismet part. Injured Patrick Mahomes in some ways. Not every way. He's obviously a better quarterback when he's not injured.
Are we sure?
However, there are times when he's developed a bad habit or two when it's like, sometimes God will see that we are doing something we ought not to be doing. And he says, this has become an idol to you. And I will take this from you if you will not voluntarily give it to me. And in this case, occasionally it can be bailing out of clean pockets. The Lord was like, nope. Man, I really hope no one has just joined that has never listened before and just heard that part, because I sound like a straight up psychopath. So I'm sorry for that. But he can at times operate a little more cleanly in terms of the timing of the offense when he knows he doesn't have a choice. Back to the wall, Patrick Mahomes, there's never been anything like that in the NFL's history, and that includes game situation, that includes the defense he's facing, that includes all sorts of things, including injury. And so maybe there's a little bit of fortuitous, a little serendipitous, perhaps, turn of events. Serendipity, underrated movie. Kate Beckinsale, John Cusack.
Do you think God does the same thing for the play callers? Like, hey,
you're like asking Justin Watson to get struck by lightning. What are you doing?
No, what happened is that God tried to break Patrick Mahomes' ankle so Andy Reid would learn to run the football, and Patrick Mahomes said,
come on. Hey, I know you have 400 play calls on the sheets, all these variations, all these checks, all these pre-snap motion. But what if I gave you 2 tablets and 12 plays? Can you make it work? Can you make it work? 2 tablets, 12 plays. Get it done today.
Oh, yes, the very famous 12 commandments.
Isn't that like an old Far Side cartoon or something where it's like, here are the 15 commandments, the 10 commandments.
Just a great reference, by the way. Far Side Forever.
Thank you.
Oh boy.
So Hollywood is. I'm trying.
What God did you to make? Yeah, I don't see it here anymore. It was here, but it wasn't. It's not here anymore. Yeah.
We have, I think, aptly rolled all the Mahomes and Hollywood, both like injury and return stuff, kind of all in one. But outside of hopefully functional offense and a little chemistry between Hollywood and Mahomes, noting what both of these guys are playing through, and in Hollywood's case, again, and Andy mentioned this maybe Monday or two, but I don't know. But or I can't. The whole week has changed days, and
Tuesday,
it doesn't matter. And I'm in a different time zone
Tuesday.
now.
Yeah.
But Andy even talked about, I think, Hollywood's legs have not been a problem. He's not coming back from a knee or an ankle or a high or whatever. So he's been able to do the cardio and the lower body stuff. Oh, did my videos all lost it right there too. So
your audio is good though. You're in.
Fantastic.
He's been able to do all the cardio and stuff.
So he should be able to, I think, join in at a relatively high workload if asked to do that. But he also still has not played professional football in a year now, really. I mean, because he got 1 snap in the preseason. So training camp, I think, is an important thing to note. With that in mind, though, Seth, you can take this first because you mentioned a couple of things that the offense can do. But what are you hoping to see on Saturday that can set this team up for a little bit more offensive promise down the stretch?
I want to see more aggressiveness. I want to see more more play calls that are less reliant on sight adjustments and more reliant on winning your route. Less, hey, we got to, we'll figure out, well, if he's here, you do this, and every offense has that. But I want to see them call up plays that are designed to win against man coverage, because they'll be seeing some of that. Although some of the stats you look at are kind of interesting in terms of man versus zone and that kind of stuff. But what I want to see is them attacking the intermediate portion of the field with Brown. I want to see them softening things up. I want to see deep shots to Worthy. I understand it hasn't worked. I actually ascribe to the theory that they realized at halftime, Cleveland ain't beating us, guys. Like, it ain't their day. Jameis is just going to keep giving us the ball back.
No matter how hard we try, they will not beat us today.
Despite our best efforts. So let's whip the ball down the field. Let's try to get rid of these downfield yips, for lack of a better term. I think all Mahomes needs, I think you just need one. I really think you need one that hits 50 yards down the field, and you're going to see everything settle down a little bit. I think you see a couple of those intermediate shots. I want to see Brown utilized the way he was planning on being utilized, and I want to see more trust in the receivers as opposed to placing so much burden on Mahomes to sift through it.
I'll jump back in. Go ahead.
You know what that means?
What does that mean? More Justin Watson?
On that note, Nate, it might be easier for Patrick Mahomes to throw a deep ball if any of the left tackles the Chiefs wanted to play football were actively playing football.
Yes.
Shamari Connor being out, certainly no surprise. He got concussed on Saturday, and you don't need to.
Yeah.
Chris Roland Wallace, get your reps. It doesn't, whatever.
Right.
Hope he gets healthy for playoff time and all of that. But DJ Humphries did not practice at all this week after being gamesmanshiped all the way down to the final note last week. DJ Humphries was ruled out today. He didn't practice. It wasn't happening. It was pretty evident. It seemed like this was not going to be the week that he returns. But I also want you, Nate, to talk about what you want to see from Hollywood. But Seth being like, more deep shots reminded me that, oh yeah, the left tackle that they wanted to be starting right now is not going to play in this game. Is it going to be Tooney again? Where's DJ Humphries? How does that all work together with a banged up quarterback with one squeaky wheel?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the Chiefs will try to see if they can survive another game with Joe Tooney as the left tackle. I don't get the sense that Wanya Morris has been given more reps this week. So I do think for the second straight week, we will more than likely see Joe Tooney at left tackle with Mike Caliendo at left guard. The results were mixed, some good, some bad. No devastating left tackle play that immediately leads to like a terrible result. So there's that.
And that's the big one.
So now it's a matter of how much can Houston look at the film, not everyone's Myles Garrett, of course, but can try to, exploit some of the, deficiencies that Joe Tooney has going from left guard to left tackle. At the same time, I think there's a sense too of like, you can only do quick games so much. So you're going to have to do a lot more mixing of, misdirection, of screenplays. Patrick should be given the opportunity to check into more running plays versus the opposite in some sense. I know we talked about that on Tuesday as well. There's a sense that the Chiefs think DJ Humphries is going to be ready for Christmas Day against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The question, though, is can you get Patrick Mahomes through Saturday's game to pair him up with DJ Humphrey for Wednesday's game with the understanding that Joe Tooney would go from left tackle to left guard?
Someone commented, eye poking worked. I mean, these are just ideas. I'm not saying that Joe Tooney should do that because that is a rule-breaking thing. However, it was wildly effective. I have to say, how have no idiots tried this yet? Like, just
in fairness to Myles Garrett, it worked for a little bit, and then Myles Garrett came back and was better.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that was
Right,
unfortunate.
immediately.
He seemed a little angry when he came back. It was like back in the day, the Hulkbuster Iron Man's fighting the Hulk and accidentally knocks out a tooth. It's like, I'm sorry. It's like, hang on, Miles, put that helmet down, Miles. We're not doing this again. Like, fortunately, he didn't do that. But Tooney, I think Charles in the comments, Charlie Rogers pointed out when Tooney loses, he loses slowly.
Yes.
And I don't know if Tooney had a particularly good game. Myles Garrett's a beast. It's impossible. But he didn't get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
If he got beat, it took 2.5 seconds, right? And that's faster than you want, for sure. But you can live with it if you don't have any of the 1.5 second ones that were killing them with some of their other guys. And so, was Caliendo? Did his name come up at all?
Well, here's the thing. No, in terms of the press conferences, no. I think Andy understands the benefit too of Mike Caliendo getting these type of games this late in the season in preparation that he might be useful as either a sixth offensive lineman or in the event that there might be an injury in January, that he has this experience to sort of be a baseline for him. Now, I know somebody asked earlier in the comments about, okay, it was clear in the first 15 that the Chiefs were trying to get Patrick in rhythm without sacrificing a ton, which meant rollouts, chips, misdirections, and quick passing, right? I'm not sure if the Chiefs will chip more on Saturday if you include Hollywood Brown into the mix, because as Seth has said multiple times, winning against man coverage, winning your routes quickly, having another legitimate threat might create a little bit more spacing between DeAndre Hopkins and obviously Xavier Worthy. So I don't know if they'll chip the same as they did last week, because it's Myles Garrett, because it was Joe Tooney's first time at the position this season. So that'll be something I will monitor. How often do they chip or, slide the running back, towards his part of the formation? But I get the sense that, if Mahomes' read is not there initially, we all know what old reliable is. And he should probably throw it to old reliable, even if old reliable is in a tight window. And Josh, who old reliable is, and he did not use him a ton last week in Cleveland.
I wish you would have thrown it to Xavier Worthy on that crosser still too. You're right. Yeah, let's take a break.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
I just realized after the break, mine wasn't loaded. That's why Tucker kept ignoring it. I was trying to one after another, and I just realized, dang, safety was on. But what can you do?
I want to actually take our opportunity here to get to a minute who the defense and some Chiefs Texans things, but on the note of who Nate would refer to as old reliable, even though Seth and I have had our eyes open to the fact that old reliable is only Justin Watson. I saw this tweet from Carrington Harrison earlier. Here we go. There's 20 players in the NFL that have over 100 targets so far this season. Travis Kelce is among those 20, and he is 19th in yards and yards per catch amongst those 20. I didn't frankly find the second part of that surprising or that terribly alarming. He's a lot of things. He's not exactly a yak monster at this point. He's not exactly a deep target most often. So if you're moving the chains 4 yards at a time or whatever, that's okay. But to see him be, and then Carrington also said that there are 3 players over 30 in that group: Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Devontae Adams. Of course, Travis Kelce being the eldest statesman of those 30-somethings. Like, man, imagine being 30. That's disgusting.
My body hurts every day, Josh. Every day.
I will officially be out of my 20s next episode, and I think I'm going to make it. But That is a lot of work that has gone to Travis Kelce that has not resulted in a terrible number of like highlights or super Travis Kelce-ish moments. Was there anything else within the artist formerly known as All Reliable until Justin Watson came in and took him over that you wanted to look into there, Nate? Or are we just noticing that? We're just keeping an eye on that.
Well, I just think it's something that you keep an eye on just because if the Texans want to blitz, which they might want to do that because, hey, let's see the limitations of the quarterback's mobility. As we saw in that infamous, 2022 championship game, I know he was a different player at that time, but the guy that Patrick could always rely on in a blitz-like situation usually was Travis Kelce. Operating in the middle of the field, knowing the entire concept of the play, knowing where the windows are in cover zero or obviously zone. So I just think that's something to be mindful of. And you also have to think about this too, like because Patrick Mahomes is dealing with what he's dealing with, because Travis Kelce is up against father time, this is a better turnaround than what Travis Kelce gonna get in the next however many days.
Yeah.
So it might be, to get Patrick through Saturday's game, you need Isaiah Pacheco to be excellent. You need Kareem Hunt to be rugged. They should probably rely on both tight ends, Noah Gray and Travis Kelce, and then try to get some rhythm with Hollywood Brown, maybe hit a deep shot to Xavier Worthy, and move the chains with DeAndre Hopkins. Like that should pretty much be the offense so that you get Patrick through that game and Joe Thuney so that maybe you can get your actual starting offensive line for the postseason with the chance to wrap everything up on Christmas Day for the 1 seed against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Bills, could you just lose on Sunday? Could
Please.
you just that would be the funniest. Would that not be the most Bills thing ever to happen though? That would be hysterical. Chiefs win, Bills lose, and all of a sudden Andy's like, do I play anyone?
Yeah, I don't do anything.
I don't gotta do squat for a month. Like that would be hilarious. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's just something that would be deeply funny to me.
Is that game in Buffalo or is it in New England?
They played them twice in the last 3 weeks. I don't remember the order. It's Patriots, Jets, Patriots. A real murderer's row.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like they were pretending that the Patriots were good.
In Buffalo.
Let's go Buffalo.
If it happens.
Even funny.
It would be deeply funny if it happened. Although I think I know how this is all going to end. We've seen this film before. We'll see if it's different this time. I just can't stop thinking of how funny that would be. So I apologize. That just got in my head. I would just note once again, and I suppose we got to move eventually to the defense, that sort of stuff. You are playing a dome team in mid-30s weather. Now I get that, I get that Houston isn't exactly the surface of the sun, but 36 degrees to those fellas. That's different than 36 degrees to you guys. And
the high is gonna be 38. So there you go.
Let's hope for clouds. Let's hope it's chilly. Chilly. And that's you're playing a quarterback who's struggled against blitzes this year.
Mm-hmm.
I do worry in terms of the pass rush situation. The Texans have a great pass rush, and the strength of their pass rush is in their defensive ends.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. It is really interesting. That's so funny. That's like the way that is the way that I tell my oldest son that something is interesting when he said it to me. That is so true. It's like, well, that's interesting. I'm going to think on that for a little bit. I'm going to take
a few moments of quiet reflection before I say anything else.
Yeah, I'm going to chew on that for a second. Here's some filler, some supportive sounding filler because I love you. As I think about what you just said to me. And by interesting, I mean, I'm like put my hand over chest, put down that weapon. By interesting.
Screaming on the inside. But interesting.
But yeah, I've just got a feeling about Saturday.
All right, Mr. Optimus, go. Cook. Go ahead. Unburden your soul.
Yeah.
Do
Clear out.
Do you want me to roll into a Menahu, or do you just want me to be optimistic overall?
I'll tell you what. If you can get two birds with this stone, I'd love that.
Let's do it. My optimism starts with Charles Amenahu III. I don't think he's actually the third. I'm just saying things at this point.
He has the gravitas of someone with that sort of nobility.
Yeah, exactly.
A man, by the way, that's a man
who combines the dignity of Jean-Luc Picard, the gravitas of King Theoden leading the Rohirrim, and the power of pre-Darth Vader Anakin Skywalker, who has somehow... Look, 11 months in and he's playing great. 11 months after a torn ACL.
Would you say that Anakin was ever pre-Darth Vader, or was Darth Vader always in there?
Oh, that's a good point, because
I mean, you saw that poster from the Phantom Menace where it's like little Anakin and the Darth Vader shadow, and I mean that was my favorite Star Wars movie. Shortly followed by, of course, the Clone Wars. Shortly followed by Revenge of the Sith. Shortly followed by Return of the Jedi. Shortly followed by all of the sequels.
You always have a choice.
Jeepers.
We needed somebody to get in Andy Reid's headset every time he calls a pass up 2 touchdowns.
You always have a choice.
Choice always yours.
I did not know.
You should. Overthink you are.
I didn't know you had that in you, Nate.
Thank you.
So here's the deal. Charles Amenahu, I wrote about him at the Chief of the North newsletter. Check it out. It is unlocked for anyone to read because I just
rush the passer. We must rush him.
Rush him. Money he does.
He does want to get paid. And I understand that based on last year's performance down the stretch. And once again, for the second year in a row, the Chiefs pass rush when rushing 4 is coming to life a little bit. Check it out on the Chief North newsletter because I gave examples. Because third down is where it matters. That's where the Chiefs have struggled this year to an extent is third and long. And that was weird for Chiefs fans to watch because last year, and again, the secondary was suffocating last year. The corners were just anytime when you have 2 elite cover guys and then your third one is real good and your fourth one is really solid, that they were suffocating teams. So when we get to third and long, I was like, I cannot wait to see what the defense is going to do to them. Now it's no, what's going to happen? Whereas third down against the Browns, and hey, I get it, the Browns are the Browns, but on offense, they've been pretty solid with Winston when he's not chucking the ball to other people. And here's the thing, some of those turnovers, they earned. Trent McDuffie, shout out to you, Trent McDuffie. Just once again, what a great play. But on third and long, I wrote about 4 different plays where Amenahu made a difference on third and long. And I wrote quite a bit about complementary pass rush. I won't get too deep into that, but it's about frequency and intensity, right?
Yes.
Very best pass rushers in the league. They only win about 30% of the time. Those are the very best, the elite of the elite. What happens the other 70%? Absolutely nothing if you have no one else winning. And that's why you need more frequency. Intensity. Oh, hey, Charles Amenahu crosses the face of the guard and just flashes into a gap, and Winston bails out to his right, and George Karlaftis is like, I may not have won my one-on-one rep, but man, I'm an athlete, and I'm going to run this guy down. And he does, and Karlaftis gets the sack, and everyone's like, wow, George Karlaftis is really coming on. It's like, no, he's the same guy he's been this whole time, which is a guy who is solid when he's your third best pass rusher, and he's cleaning up after everyone else. He will win occasionally. He's got power. He crushes the pocket. Spags loves him because he will never win around that edge. And my God, if you win around that edge, I will bench you, George Karlaftis. You will go to the Joshua Uche zone, And so it all comes together significantly better when you're winning with 4.
Hey, Seth,
and they can.
Seth, we only have Josh. We only have so many hats.
You will not bring me in.
You know what his quote was, Josh? Did you know it? Before you got to sunny Mexico, we only have so many hats, and Malik Herring's played well this season.
He did not say that.
Yeah, he did. He mentioned.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so be that as it may, I'm not doing this. I am not being that
at
pessimist.
some point. Real quick scheduling note and then a general topic understanding. We will not have another show until after the Steelers game, just by the nature of the Chiefs playing a ridiculous schedule, and then those days in between being like Christmas Eve and then Christmas. So we're not going to have another show till we're going to have 2 games happen until we come back, which I don't think we've done in the history of the show. Thank you,
Ever.
NFL.
Yeah.
But within that, we obviously have a pretty
Right.
squished schedule, and so at one point, we do need to talk about 2 former Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Joshua Uche, but I don't think we can do it right now.
So, I love this comment from Scott Weldon. Crush or crush not. There is no bend. I can't do Yoda, but that is a great quote. Crush or crush not. There is no bend. So,
awesome.
where Amenahu helps, what everyone noticed was the strip sack, of course. That was a one-on-one win in where Spags had dialed up a simulated pressure where the 2 defensive tackles dropped into coverage and then he blitzed a couple safeties. But it's not a blitz, technically. It's because you're still only sending 4. And here's the problem with a simulated pressure is if you don't take them by surprise, that means you've got blockers in front of guys who are not pass rushers. And it's like Justin Reed's like, well, I've got this giant guard in my way. And he's just way bigger than I am. There's nothing I can do here. And Chris Jones didn't win one-on-one. He was coming from the other side. It was a whole deal. Had Amenahu not won, very quickly one-on-one, strip sack, Winston has all day to survey. That's the easy one to notice. The other ones, though, both of George Karlaftis' sacks, Amenahu had a decent win, not a dominant one, but a decent one. And when you have multiple guys collect decent wins, that gives you more pressure, generally speaking, than one guy getting a dominant win because there's nowhere to slide, there's nowhere to move, there's nowhere for them to go. Amenahu is impacting the team in that way, and it's mattering on third downs. And one thing that means, you don't have to blitz as much. And what that means is it takes them by surprise when you blitz. And what that means is they can't just automatically, when they know that they're in third and long, dial up some form of an extra guy or 2 and man coverage beaters across the board because they know that's all you've got. And now they might call that, but oh no, we only sent 4 and those man coverage beaters are useless against zone and you've only running 3 routes and we're still going to get to you because no one's open. That's what happened for them last year. It's all complementary. It's all very synergistic. And so it's the one way that adding a dude to the pass rush, even you don't need to be Nick Bosa to make the pass rush significantly better. And so that third down, that is the money down for Charles Amenahu. That is where he's making his biggest difference. And that's where if you just make a difference on 2 of those a game, that's drive-ending stuff. And you can count on Chris Jones to end at least 1 drive a game. At least. And so it's been really encouraging because it's a rising tide that lifts all boats because George Karlaftis in particular, first 11 games of the season, 4 sacks. Last 3 games, 3 sacks. What's the difference? Charles Amenahu is here. It's not that Karlaftis is coming on. It's just he is an effort, energy, strength, cleanup guy. He is not a number 2 pass rusher. He's a number 3 or number 4, but a really good one. And so it's been fun to watch, and it makes the secondary look better, which, on a side note, quietly, other than when Spags is just gonna, I mean, poor Najee Johnson and Josh Williams are just getting whiplash. It's like, you Najee, get off the field. Josh, you got a penalty already? Like,
Najee, get back out there. We allowed a rushing touchdown right through the gap that Josh Williams would have clamped down on his own. Oh, dear.
Oh, that was bad. That was a really bad. And that was a tough rep for multiple guys. You know, Tranquil got held. Bolton didn't do great at the point of attack there. But really, that was that long touchdown run. If Josh Williams is the one protecting the edge there, that is not that touchdown run. It was a great run. I mean, that dude was cooking. I didn't know he could run like that. But that's where Amenahu, it can be with defense, it can be about the sum of the parts a little bit if what you're missing is such a specific thing. And so that's been fun to watch. I'm excited to see what they do against the Texans. And those are my Charles Amenahu's thoughts because I am not one of the haters and the losers anymore.
I didn't like that I didn't have a candle. I really thought you were cooking there, Seth. And so I wanted to show my support. But I didn't have a candle, so I got a GIF of a candle from on my phone. It didn't have quite the same effect, but I guess I got to turn the light off.
Oh, see, now that's perfect. That might as well be a candle. My goodness.
You look like
were
an
just
angel.
you turned into an archangel for a second when the light came back on. Oh man. You were about to answer, I am Joshua, the voice of the Lord.
I've been looking for some burning bush around here, but I haven't gotten any yet.
Yeah.
So Nate, let's localize it to Chiefs Texans a little bit here. Seth put out an entire little breadcrumb trail of bread.
Crumbs of bread.
Left bread. It's not called a crumb trail. That's not good. But Seth
like
put out
crumb trail. Am I right? Hey.
Seth put out some of the clues here in terms of some things that the Texans and that even this iteration of CJ Stroud in this year has had some problem dealing with, some things the Chiefs could be a little bit better at. Where does this all come together for Minahu back fully in the swing of things and the Chiefs defense, even though they're doing it somehow without Joshua Uche and Malik Herring? How do you see this going, Nate?
So I wrote about Trent McDuffie yesterday or today because I thought, these are reminders that these are games where you still have to have your best players play like they're the best players. So you need Chris Jones and Trent McDuffie to be excellent, like they were against the Browns. And it would be nice if Charles Omenihu is your number 3 guy. But ultimately, without Chamari Connor as your traditional nickel, can you live in a world where, sure, you're going to blitz, and sure, you're going to get pressure on CJ Stroud, and sure, it's going to be loud and cold? Can you live in a world where Trent McDuffie is in the slot with Joshua Williams and Najee Johnson in the secondary?
I'm open to this.
The idea of cornerbacks playing corner is something that I'm a little concerned about, but and that's where I'm telling you, Spags occasionally, you just got to, like, Chamari Connor, get well soon. You're a good safety. You're a really good box safety, and that's where you should be playing, box safety, because you're really good at it. You know what you shouldn't be doing? Covering slot corners. Honestly, you could talk me into a world where Spags is like, you know what? I'm putting McDuffie back in the slot just so we can just destroy that guy. And we're just going to have a little extra safety help on the boundary. Williams on one side. Oh, man, that room's looking thin. Chris, you're up, dude. Let's see what happens. And just so you know, if you make just the tiniest mistake, I am pulling you off the field for Najee Johnson so fast. You won't even know. You don't even know.
Najee Johnson has never made a mistake, and he never will make a mistake. I know when Najee Johnson's out there, I know what I'm going to get every rep.
Najee Johnson is like that permanently friend-zoned guy that every time
I don't know if I co-signed this yet. No
Every
candle
time-
up for me, for the audio listeners.
So, you've got that poor guy. I feel for Najee Johnson because he's overachieved already for where he's taken. But where he's at right now, she wants to marry anyone but you, dude. Like anyone. She will give that guy a chance, and that guy has a faux hawk in the year of our Lord 2024. And then when that guy turns out to be a schmuck, she's knocking on your door at 2 a.m, wondering if she can come in because she just wants to talk. And then you let her in because this time it's going to be different. And this time you're going to introduce her to your parents, and this time it's fine.
Talking.
And
we're
just talking.
Talking.
You know what? You really hurt me last time. And now she met some guy, and he's got a bike, but he's a real nice guy. And honestly, we just don't quite have a spark that me and Tank have. And so then she goes off with that guy, and when it inevitably falls apart for one reason or another, she's back to you. Steve, stop doing this to Najee Johnson. Let Josh Williams play there. Let Chris Roland Wallace try out stuff in the slot, and let's just see what happens. Let the guy develop without jerking him on and off the field.
I got nothing to do on Thursday. You want to go to a comedy club? Will you buy the tickets for me?
Excuse me. Pardon me? What?
Yeah, just
No, Nate, you're fine.
I think there's a bingo night on Wednesday. You ever been to the bingo?
Let's talk about Chiefs Texans. So, Josh, I hate you so much.
What?
We're all trying to find the guy that did this, Josh.
Thank you.
So, dang it.
That's kind of Justin Watson in the way that he's white, and also that when you get together his highlight reels of this season, you'd think it's a Hall of
incredible.
Famer.
Incredible. Yeah.
Scott Weldon's comment. Nazi, oh, he's so sweet. I love having somebody in my corner who I can talk to when Williams doesn't pass off coverage correctly. That really is it. I mean, the minute someone makes a mistake, Nazi, get out there for 4 snaps. That's not fair to the guy's development. Like,
Or his ego.
Seth, is it
or his
productive
ego.
for me to just say that you're white? Because that's not 100%. It's like 75% accurate, right? I don't know if that's reductive.
Yeah, I'm a quarter Japanese, but I mean, I don't think it shows up much, other than my driving ability. So
I don't know what that means, and I'm not gonna laugh at it because it sounds crazy.
Hey,
I think you can make it, but I'm not gonna.
I've driven with my grandmother. Let me tell you something.
Nazi, that is so sweet of you. I am going to the company party. Are you gonna? Oh, you want to pick me up? Oh, that's very sweet of you. Very sweet.
Oh, I actually have a flight.
But it's not a date. It's not a date.
Yeah,
Believe
yeah.
me,
No, it's not a date. It's not a date. I've got
I'll be
this
ready by
wedding this
7.
weekend.
I'll make
That
you wait
I
till it's
just
8:30.
Yeah. My plans fell through. I've just got this. I've got this wedding I really don't want to go to by myself. Would you go with me? And then her ex-boyfriend is there, and guess what? By 9:30, you're dumped. It's just sad.
I wish Spags' ex was there because getting a healthy Legarius Sneed back would rule.
That would. Yeah, then there's Spags yelling, "I do this" in the middle of the dance floor.
Yes. Let's let Legarius Sneed's kind of problematic Tennessee relationship run its course, and then we'll be there for you when you're ready. Just like we were all here for Steven Nelson.
And you know what? Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be real honest. I just Doc Holiday'd Steven Nelson, and I apologize. I forgot you were there.
So did Spags. He's not playing.
He's not playing
But
this week, Seth.
You're not
I
getting a
know.
revenge game.
Which I
This
think
is a beach
Nelson.
play. Did you hear what Spags said about the Nelson thing last week?
No.
It was just like it was like he was caught off guard by the move. It was just like, oh, Brett's always looking, and we'll get him in there. I haven't really talked to him about why I wanted to play football again, but we'll work him in and see how he does. Get him up to speed. Like he literally, I don't want to overstate this. He may be behind Joshua Uche in the snap, or tied with Joshua Uche for snaps for the rest of the season and playoffs.
Oh, God.
Man, I really hope, because I think Nelson last year was decent playing boundary corner, and that's a solution to your problem. Nelson on one side, Williams on the other side, McDuffie in the slot, and then when you have 2 corners.
Okay, let me break the fourth wall, guys. All right, let's
It's
do
like
this.
Darrell
Okay?
Revis in practice is what I've heard.
Okay, are we ready?
The only
ladies and
player
gentlemen?
better is DJ Humphreys. It's unbelievable.
Because I said a couple weeks ago, if you remember, that does Steve Spagnuolo know who his best 11 guys are? Let's say in what is standard base personnel, let's say nickel, right? Let's say nickel, gotta have it on 3rd down. Let's say it's 3rd and 6. Okay, does Steve Spagnuolo know his best 11? Well, I'm here to tell you. We're going to do it right now, kids, on December 19th. And let's say if you don't see this between now and Christmas Day, that's okay. We haven't seen it either. So, Justin Reed, Brian Cook, those are your 2 safeties. If you're going dime, that's where Shamari Connor should come into the mix. But in nickel, it should be, as Seth says, Joshua Williams, Steven Nelson, and there goes my dog, and
Trent McDuffie.
and Trent McDuffie in the nickel. Now, one assumes Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil. Then you get to Chris Jones somewhere. George Karlaftis, obviously.
And then 3 Mike Danis.
Charles Omenihu. And take your pick as to who the 4th defensive lineman will be. Those are the top 11 players.
I actually think we should start talking about the other defensive tackle as a sort of Cerberus situation where it's like Mike Pennell's head, Derek Notty's head, and Tershawn Wharton. So it really
It's
is like
probably
3 guys playing
it's-
one position, right? I mean, like
It's probably Tershawn Wharton. If you want a little more of a NASCAR-ish package and you know they're throwing the ball, maybe Mike Dana.
Now Warpinell. That would be the last name.
Warpinell. I kind of like the Warpinell.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds
it kind
like
of flowed off the tongue. I heard it in my head, and I was like, "That's nice."
Warpinell.
Now Warpinell.
I'm gonna work on their first
Derek
name.
No Warpinell. It sounds like, you know what? Nope. So I, considering the things I have said during this show, we know I can't say that. So
whatever you filtered out there must have been a hate crime by what your filter is.
A hate crime.
D-Mac just said Mike Data is the NASCAR truck series.
I love our commenters so much. Gosh, you guys are so great. You guys just get the show, and you're also enabling this, by the way. Like, by the way, people that listen to this show that are like first timers that are like, what are they doing? Just know it's not entirely our fault. We have been enabled by some very loyal people that are making this much worse than it used to be because we never used to have live comments and we couldn't see each other. This is more fun though, so I don't care.
Give me the NASCAR truck.
NASCAR truck series.
This is like the hand signal.
I need you to win around the edge.
Where's
Best
the
I
truck
can do
nuts?
is really slowly move towards it
Truck
over the
nuts.
course of 5
Turn
seconds.
down. Season on the line. Truck nuts. Get out there. 3-tech. Okay.
I think to right Nawar Pinnell is the defensive tackle too on this team.
So look, I know some people have asked about
No.
Now I do think in dime personnel on Saturday we will see Jaden Hicks. Now that will be a fascinating wrinkle. They could also put Jaden Hicks into the big slot if they so choose, if they want McDuffie to be on the outside.
He is enormous.
I'm not saying we've forgotten about.
He's the enormous slot.
Yeah, we haven't forgotten about Jaden Hicks. It's just he's a rookie.
The Chiefs don't play big slot when Jaden Hicks is in. They play enormous slot.
And Steve Spagnuolo
Acknowledge what I'm
rookies,
saying, Nate. Okay, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
enormous, gargantuan slot.
That's what
Jaden Hicks.
He's so big. Have you seen that guy?
I see him every day, Seth.
Okay, that was a stupid question, and I apologize for that. But that guy, I mean, he looks like, remember when Cam Chancellor used to play? And he just looked different. Now, I'm not saying he's Cam Chancellor because Cam was like, I'm afraid of Cam Chancellor, and I never played him, obviously.
What do you do on the field? I murder people. Murder.
Yeah.
But you can't do that in the NFL.
Murder. I can. He was like the last of it. Like they were waiting for him to retire. They're like, okay, I think we can change the rules now, guys, because he wasn't going to let us. But no, Hicks is that dude is huge.
Cam Chancellor in football heaven and realize that Cam Chancellor, they're never making another one like him, guys. Ronnie Slot wishes he could be Cam Chancellor, and that is saying something.
That guy, seriously, it's just worth noting. I don't know if our listeners have really paid a lot of attention with Hicks being on the field. He's getting out there more and more. He's moving around decently, and he really is. He's just huge. He is just a big guy.
Roddy's and there's Roddy Slot coming off the edge, Jim.
Roddy Slot.
Guys, I got an alert on my phone. I'll tell you what the sound of the alert sound like, but it's time to do predictions, maybe for 2 consecutive weeks. But here's the alarm.
Develop without jerking him on and off the field. Oh no! Wait, Tucker.
It's too late.
Tucker didn't say it.
Look, if I'd known when we started this podcast that I would be responsible for the things that I accidentally say, well, that would have been different. By the way, seriously, Splatical, commenter Splatical.
Me around, Jim. You don't understand.
Ronnie Slot is a great comment. That is just A+ stuff. Jody Newsom's leaving. Thank you, Jody. That's probably the right call.
Yeah, you honestly missed. Probably should have gone ahead and pulled a little Yui earlier, if I'm being honest.
Made a 24-point turn and gotten out of here.
We are over an hour, and the only thing we've learned so far is Nawar Pinnell and if you should or shouldn't pull players on and off the field. What do you think happens for Chiefs Texans? And again, our last show until after Christmas. Obviously, some things could happen that would dictate kind of where our heads are at for the actual Christmas game. I didn't want to do the 19-17 thing again, so I'll go with the Texans game here. I'm going to go 17-16. I think the Chiefs win this game, and I think nobody has any fun.
I've got Chiefs 33.
What?
Whoa!
Why?
What?
High?
Texans 17.
34.
30. Oh, that would have been a great heel turn. Dang it. Every opportunity I miss, Golly, I'm like that.
You don't
that
miss
old
every
Bugs.
opportunity. I have evidence that you hit a couple of them.
I'm that Bugs Bunny gif where he strikes out 3 straight times on the same pitch. That's me. 30 Jody Newsom in the comments. I'm sorry, 33 real points, like NFL points during a game. Yeah,
they got to get into the end zone to score that many, right?
33-17, and then
11 Harrison Butker field goals,
and then that would be incredible for a number of reasons. But I'm telling you, 33-17, the offense gets cooking. What Patrick Mahomes needed was someone to slow him down for a minute, and now he has to. He's got to slow down his process, and now he has to. And then they're going to go to Pittsburgh on like 24 hours rest or whatever it is. I think it's actually a doubleheader on Saturday, right? They play, and then they drive straight.
Exactly.
They go straight to Pittsburgh. They don't even take off their uniforms. They drive to Pittsburgh, get on the field. I think they win 2 in a row, and then they rest. And I'm here for it.
Okay, so after that lovely display of optimism, I will say Chiefs 21, Texans 16. I do appreciate that someone in the comments thinks, hey, there might be, maybe, who knows? Maybe there might be a defensive touchdown in this game because, hadn't seen one of those in a while for the Chiefs. When it comes to this game on Saturday, I just want you to realize that you're going to scream for Andy Reid and Matt Nagy to hand the ball off, and it's probably not going to happen. And that's okay, because
whether or not it's okay is up for debate.
They can do that the next week in Pittsburgh. You can always just push it off.
Nate, can I ask a question I've been wondering for a long time?
Sure.
Do the Chiefs only have 4 run plays?
They're not going to show them right now.
Their run playbook looks like Tecmo's Super Bowl, where you just got the 4 plays sitting there.
Bro,
I feel like my run game in NFL Street 2 had more diversity, and I just pretty much, it was options and the fake pitch. But
Pat, ball 8 up. Like, that'd be easier to remember.
I do want the Chiefs to understand that they can use screen passes. The screen game is to your benefit because your quarterback is limited. So use Kareem Hunt, use Samaje Perine, use maybe Hollywood Brown on a little bubble, breakout wide receiver.
Yeah, let's get Hollywood Brown. Let's get Hollywood Brown freaking broken in half.
Hey,
I want to see Hollywood go for some hospital balls, and ideally,
I want to see a tunnel screen that sends him right into the teeth of the defense. Yes. Hey, Hollywood, you a ball player or not? You scared?
Hey, you out there, right, son? You out there?
I want him to have a chance to put that front bumper right in Hollywood's sternum.
I said bubble screens. It gives you a chance. Now, Juju, block with this man's life. You gotta need this. We gotta need this man's life, okay? All I'm saying is use the screen game, okay? Because you're pretty good at it, and you should do it more often for a variety of reasons.
That way you can set up the real offense of a deep shot to Justin Watson.
On that note, we're overdue and underbaked still somehow. Let's call it there, or Nate, you can put a bow on it. But we all think that they beat the Texans. Man, I'll tell you what, it would be a really bad loss to force Patrick Mahomes out there with horse steroids in his ankle or whatever, and try to get. He's going to get drug tested after this game anyway. There's no shot he's not going to, so I can't do anything about it. But training staff and all, whatever they have to do to get Patrick Mahomes to play in this football game on Saturday, only to turn around and make him play again on Wednesday. If they do not get to take week 18 off, it's going to feel really bad. But again, on that note, we're going to have 2 games come and go before we are talking to you again. Of course, the post-game show here on KCSN, also in the same feed if you're listening to this show, all of the KCSN Chief shows there in that one feed. So check out the post-game and everything else that follows. Again, we, though, Only Weird Games will not be back until after the Steelers game, in which we'll be back on we're doing that the day after Christmas, unless I've missed
Thursday,
a memo.
right?
So we should be Christmas on Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday. So we'll have a post-game wrap-up right after that one, when we can talk about what it was like watching Patrick Mahomes drop back 45 times in Houston, and then what it was like to watch them lose to the Steelers on Christmas. With that being said, Seth, did you have something? And then Nate can take it from there.
I just want to say that I look forward to seeing Patrick Mahomes break the single game record for number of passes attempted on Saturday against the Texans. 71 pass attempts. It's gonna be incredible with an average depth of target of -1 yards. Just coming out. It's gonna be great. Chiefs are gonna win 2 in a row. Next time we talk, the Chiefs are gonna have locked up the 1 seed. You can believe me because I know ball.
I hope Patrick Mahomes doesn't break anything on Saturday. Nate?
Oh gosh.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Let me end you with a scene from the locker room in Cleveland, Ohio. It was at this point, ladies and gentlemen, that I thought, well, the quarterback's kind of going through something right now. There's only one man that I want to talk to. No, it is not DeAndre Hopkins. No, it is not Kareem Hunt. I had the honorable task of saying, I guess I'm going to have to interview the robot. And the robot looked me dead in my eye and said, "You want to do this for 5 minutes?" And I said, "Yes, I do," because he's still breathing with us right now. In part because you went from left guard to left tackle. Now, a lot of times you understand that you can go to any player in the locker room and they'll give you pretty much, what you're looking for information-wise. Their reaction after the game, the emotion, the magnitude of it, the stakes. Joe Tooney looked me dead in my face and told me Myles Garrett is a really good football player. Over and over and over and over again. When did you know you were going to play left tackle? Early in the week. Okay, that or early in the week. Got it. Okay. What was it like? I was just doing the best I could for the team. What worked against Myles Garrett? He's a really good football player. That's not what I asked you, Mr. Robot. Did you poke him in the eye? He's a really good football player.
Well, that's a yes if I've ever heard one. Wouldn't you poke him in the eye?
Joe Tooney is incredible because his technique is flawless and his answers are already programmed and he just spits them out. And you know what? He's making millions doing that, kids. Millions of dollars. And if that ain't a Christmas miracle, I don't know what is.
I'd say 1 deep ball to Xavier Worthy.
Since I have you guys here, I want to talk about a little thing